Hi everyone, in this lecture we're going to talk about the blocking and the non-blocking assignment statement, which in general terms I call it the evil twins. Why? Because the way they execute it looks like the twins, but the way they actually work on the hardware is way more different. So in this lecture we're going to talk through about the complete blocking and the non-blocking assignment, and we're going to go through about its complete case study with the help of its coding guidelines and much known concept of the synthesis. So stay tuned with me till the end. Let's first talk about the lecture's outline. So I divide this lecture into three parts. In the first module, we're going to talk through about what is a blocking and the non-blocking assignment statement. Then after that, we go through about the effect of the delay on the execution of the both. Here, the delay means whether initial delay and the transport delay. Then after that we go for the concurrent and the sequential assignment of both this statement. Here we're gonna actually know about how they're gonna work in a different way when we go for its concurrent execution and when we go for sequential execution. Moving onwards to a second module. So here in this module we're going to talk about the few important guidelines that we have to keep in mind before assigning this statement in our block. For example, it is always preferable to use the blocking statement when we have to generate our combinational logic circuit, and in a similar way the non-blocking assignment statement, it always being preferable for generating a sequential logic circuit. Apart from this, there are few other coding guidelines like the use of the strobe or our monitor statement for displaying the value on our display system, and also why we have not used the #0 delay in assigning our statement to avoid the race around conditions. Like this, there are few other coding guidelines. We can go through about all those coding guidelines in our second module, and we have to generate those with the help of a known example, that is the shift registers. And finally, in our last module, we're going to conclude the exact summary of our first module and our second module, and we're going to come up with a conclusion, so to get more clarification on the both blocking and the non-blocking assignment statement. So now you got the idea about all these three modules. Let's get started with our first module, that is the blocking assignment statement. So the first thing about is the meaning of the blocking means. Here the means is that first of all, this statement will be executed and the evaluation of the other statement will be blocked until this statement will completed. Means here the right hand side of our statement, it will evaluate and it will assign to our left hand side variable. Until then, no other assignment will happen in this step. Only and only this blocking statement will evaluate and assigned. Now about this step, it's a single step execution of this statement is symbol here. So the blocking statement, it will denote with the symbol of this one. Let's look at an example of the blocking statement. Here I took an example of the sequential execution of the blocking assignment. In this module I took our input as the input and a clock and taking two outputs. So I defined the input as the wire as by default taking it, and the output as the reg, defining its value 0. So on the always block, put the value of the input to the y1 and the y1 to the y2. So according to the meaning of the blocking assignment, the first statement here, that is the y1, and the in value goes to y1. Until then, the second statement will not execute. So the first statement will evaluate and will assign. After that, the second statement will work. Let's understand it with this timing waveform. First, about the timing statement. Here we are defining our clock with this period as 20 nanosecond. So it is defining with the 10 nanosecond as low, and for the 10 nanosecond it is high. And we are changing our input with some value that we are provided with the help of the test bench. So now let's about the output y1. So according to our question that it is dependent on the clock, so our sensitivity list is on the positive edge of clock. Let's talk about the clock first, positive edge. So before the positive edge, our input it is high, so we got our output y on the positive edge of clock as the high. Here you can see that our input it will goes to the output y1 and it is high at the positive edge of clock. And at the same time step, this statement will evaluate and the assigned. So our input value it will evaluate and assign on this positive edge of the clock, and our y1 it will goes to the y2 here. There will be block of the statement y2 until y1 will complete on this positive edge of clock. So on the similar way, on the next positive edge of clock, our input is low, so we got our output y1 as low in this positive step edge of clock. And on the same step, our first statement will evaluate and it will assigned. So our output y2 it will execute after y1 will execute. So it will happen so quickly that y1 goes to the y2. And you can see here that on the time step it will happen on the same time step. So in the similar way, on the third positive edge, output is our high, so we got our y1 as high, and on the same way we got the output y2. So let's understand its logical synthesis. So firstly about the clock and the input, this will given to our flip-flop here because it is a positive edge of flip-flop. So we got our output and this output goes to the y1. So this y1 it will simply buffer and goes to our y2. There will be no parallel thing working. It's like in a sequential way the things will execute. Firstly the first statement will execute and then the second statement will execute. So in this way we know that we are assigning our values using our blocking assignment statement. Let's talk about the non-blocking assignment statement. So about the non-blocking assignment statement, firstly about this statement means that it means a non-block. It means there will be no blocking of this statement that we are assigning in parallel with our non-blocking assignment statement. All those blocking statements that are in parallel with our non-blocking assignment, it will execute. But on the non-blocking assignment, it is viewed as a two-step process. What is this step is that firstly, at the beginning of our time step, our right hand side it will evaluate. And the value of the right hand side it will store temporary. Then after that at the end of our time step, this value of the right hand side it will update our left hand side. That's the meaning of the non-block. Evaluation and the assignment happen at the starting of our time step and at the end of our time step. So about this symbol, it is generally being defined with this symbol here. It is less than or equal to operator. Understand it with the help of an example. The same example we take and we are assigning the value of input with the non-blocking to y1 and the value of y1 to non-blocking y2. So let's understand it how it's gonna work on the simulation part. Firstly, you see that we are providing the same clock and the same input as we are providing in our blocking assignment statement. The y1 it will happen similar the way it happens in our blocking statement. Firstly, on the positive edge of clock, our input it goes to the y1. Value of the input, firstly it will stored inside some internal register, and that value of the y1 will assign input that assigned to the y1. But on the same time step, the previous value of the y1 it is internally stored and it goes to the y2. Here you can see that our y2 it is initially 0 because the initial value of y1 is 0. So in this way, on the same positive edge of clock, our y1 value it goes to the y2. On the next positive edge of clock, y1 it goes to the low. But as we know y2, it will took the value of y1 that is previously being stored here on the same time step. Next positive edge of clock, our input, it will go slow, so that's why our y1 goes low. But on the same time step, our y1, it is high, so we got our y2 as high here. This is the difference between the blocking and the non-blocking, because on the blocking, all those things happen in a sequential way. Like first it goes to here, then only the next statement will perform. But here the right hand side, all those right hand side of the non-blocking are being evaluated, and then they will put those value and they will assign those value to the y2 on the end of the time step. And that similar goes in our third positive edge of clock. Our input is high, we got our y1 is high, but our y2 is low because the previous value of y1 is low. So now let's understand its synthesize part. So here you can see here is that our clock input, it will generate two flip-flops. So on the first flip-flop, input goes, clock goes, we got output y1. And then our next flip-flop, it will works on the y1 and the clock here. Previous value of y1, it goes to our y2. So in this way, they are different in their simulation and on their synthesis. Now to get more clarification on how the non-blocking and the blocking statement works, let's get our dive into the Verilog event regions that are being specified for the particular event to be performed in the current simulation time. So the first thing about is the active event. This is the Verilog IEEE standard format. It is a conceptual model that has been specified and it will define how the events and how our statements will perform in our simulator. The first thing about is the active event. Here in the active event, all the blocking assignment statement will performed, like our evaluation and the assignment of the blocking statement will be happen in the active region. And also our right hand side of the non-blocking assignment statement will evaluate. And it will store internally, and then all our continuous assignment statement, they will perform. Our display statement will execute. And so all those events, they will happen in any order, so they can perform out of order only and only in the active event region. Now after the active event region, there is an inactive event, all those events that can perform after our active event. So in this, the hash 0 or the 0th delay will be assigned generally in our inactive event, but using the 0th delay in our coding, it is a bad style of coding, and we get to know about more in our coding guideline lecture. Now in our third event, that is the non-blocking event. So in this region, all those our non-blocking assignment left hand side will be updated. It is a two-step statement. So the right hand side will evaluate in the active event and the left hand side will update in the non-blocking event. And finally in our fourth event, that is the monitor event. Here our monitor and the strobe command will execute. So in this way, all those things will be executed on the current simulation time. Now to understand about how our non-blocking assignment statement, it will eliminate our race around condition that we face in our blocking condition. To understand that, let's take our event region here. Let's get an example of our blocking statement. Suppose if there are two always block, and in the IEEE standard, this always block, they can perform at any order. So if we are assigning the value of A to B and we are assigning the value B to A, according to our blocking statement, both these statements will be executed parallelly. But how? Because our simulator, it goes confused whether it should update the value of B or it should update the value of A. Race around condition here, because all those events will be performed in our active region event. Same variable we can't update twice in our active event of if we're calling from two different always block. So how the non-blocking event will avoid this race around condition? If we take the same module and we are assigning the value of A non-block to B, So internally, first the event will goes in our active event. Here the value of A, it will the right hand side of our non-blocking assignment, it will evaluate and stored. Then after that, in our non-blocking event, the temporary stored value of A, it will get back to our value B and updated the left hand side in our non-blocking event. So in this way, we are storing the value in our active event and updating in our non-blocking event region. So it will avoid the race around condition because we got a time to store and to update the values.